So, have you ever felt the need to help the environment? Do you like to stay healthy and do you like to save money? There's one simple solution for that. Something just as simple as starting a garden. So, gardens are beneficial for your physical and mental health. The bees are attracted to the flowers in the garden, which would help the bee population tremendously. And you save money by taking less trips to the grocery store. You don't spend as much money on produce. The food out of your garden is way more fresh than what you get in the grocery store and is supposedly more nutritional as well, like 50% more nutritional. And growing your own food organically means that the pesticides in your food are reduced so much more, because they say that the pesticides in something as simple as an apple in the grocery store, it's got about 30 synthetic pesticides on average. If you start a garden, then that'll reduce the amount of fossil fuels because you're not driving to and from the grocery store as much. Plus, it's going to lower the amount of food that the big companies are going to be producing. So they're not going to be using as much fuel transferring the food back in or to and from places. All right. So, problems. Heart disease is becoming an epidemic throughout the world, especially throughout the United States. And diseases like cancer, and they're fed by unhealthy processed foods, as well as the pesticides that are sprayed on your foods. The produce in the grocery store, as I had said before, has less nutrients because it's older and sprayed with a vast number of pesticides. The bee population has been declining tremendously. So if we all started a garden, or let's just say that we didn't have a garden, so without bees, we wouldn't be able to grow nearly 1/3 of the world's crops. The pesticides are one of the main reasons why the bees are declining. So if we started a garden, that would give us the ability to have a place for the bees to go that would be pesticide free, at least synthetic pesticide free. Let's see. So our diets would dramatically change if bees weren't around, because like I said, 1/3 of the foods in the world are from bees who are putting their pollen all over. Our culture is highly dependent on fossil fuels, which negatively affect our environment. So if they're transporting produce, transporting produce is not only expensive, but it takes a good portion of the world's fossil fuels. And fossil fuels release carbon dioxide, and they get into the atmosphere, which causes global warming and negatively affects our health. So, and also synthetic pesticides, they're used on most of the produce throughout the world. Synthetic pesticides can make their way into our waterways and sources such as rivers and oceans, and they kill the animals and they throw the ecosystem off. Pesticides are poisonous to the body, and they're harmful to our reproductive system, our endocrine system, and our nervous system. All three are very, very important systems in our body. So, studies have shown that pesticides can also be linked to Alzheimer's, ADHD, and cancer. So, if we're growing our own organic garden, we're going to be using way less pesticides, and in turn, it could be beneficial for our health, and in the long run can decrease our chances of getting all three of those. Okay, so solution. Fight against Alzheimer's and diseases. Growing your own food gives you the ability to eat healthier, and in turn can fight against cancer and other diseases that are prevalent. Studies show that the fresher the produce is, the more nutrients it contains. If you're picking food from your garden, you're going to be getting the most healthy food out there, and in turn, fighting against diseases. You help the bees, which you grow your own organic garden. Bees are going to be involved in the process of pollinating the flowers, which in turn can grow the fruits and vegetables. More organic garden or More organic gardens increase the number of spots that bees can migrate to. So the bees will be able to go into these places without synthetic pesticides. The less growing your own garden will decrease the amount of fossil fuels used. So you'll be growing your own produce and reducing the number of trips that you're taking to the grocery store. Less synthetic pesticides will be going into your body. So if you grow your own garden, you'll have less harsh chemicals going into your body, such as pesticides, herbicides. And the synthetic pesticides, as I had said before, can be linked to, cancer, ADHD. And so eating out of your own garden will decrease the chance and lowers the exposure of the synthetic pesticides. So if you visualize it, if everyone had their own garden, there would be less industrial agriculture, which is unhealthy for us and the environment. There would be less fossil fuels used and less global warming. The people in our world will be healthier and have less sicknesses. There will be a bigger population of bees, and it'll have regrowth to our ecosystem. So all you have to do is you have to start small. You don't have to automatically start with a big garden. Even a small potted garden would help the system or our ecosystem tremendously. Having your own garden will improve your physical and emotional health, increase your knowledge on growing your own food, and it helps the bee population and reduces fossil fuels. So get out there and start your own garden.